All right, we're live right now, and I just want to take this opportunity to welcome my friend, my dear friend, my comrade, and a brother to me, Honorable Binwell Mpundu, to my broadcast today on TV Bakwetu. Welcome, Honorable Binwell Mpundu, to the Punch for Punch program on TV Bakwetu. I
Thank you,
saw,
my
I,
brother. It's been a long time since we caught up to national
Mhm.
matters, and I'm extremely humbled to be here to discuss very important and pertinent issues to our people. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
I appreciate you accepting this. A lot of people are saying that, and have been saying that they needed to, or we needed to bring diverse voices on TV Bakwetu. And this is what we are doing. We are trying to make sure that people understand that this is a TV of choice. This is a platform of choice. This is where everyone is welcome, where anyone who has an interest in public issues, Zambian public issues, they are welcome here to come and feature on our programs. We have a slew
Mm.
of programs that we are doing. We have our colleagues that are doing amazing things. I have Frank Saliki is doing a lot of motivation to the people out there. I have, many people, that Patrick and others that are Linda Banks that are doing all kinds of programs right here on TV Bakwetu. And so this is my second week featuring on this TV station, and we are banging it, my brother. Last weekend we had Honorable Ambassador Emmanuel Mwamba. We went head to head on many issues, and it was a lot of people appreciated it, and a lot of people gave us a good feedback. They
Mm.
asked me if I could talk less, and I told them that's why this program is here. This is a punch for punch. When we come here, we are going direct to issues. So I hope that people will enjoy this. I hope that people can take time to learn and listen from their leaders, and we challenge leaders on this program on matters of public interest. Let's get on to it without wasting much of your time. Viewers, I want to again welcome my brother, Binwe Mpundu. He is the MP for Nkana constituency in Kitwe. Now, before we go ahead and actually start this, I want to go ahead and ask our viewers if they're able to hear us and if they are actually where they are watching me from. Where are you watching us from? Please, will you let me know, because it helps us know which parts of Zambia is actually, or the world is actually watching us. All right. So this is the introduction and of the program. So I'm gonna go into it and begin with a very solid question for you, Honorable Mpondo. What is going on in Kitwe? What is happening in Kitwe, especially in Nkana constituency? You have the Black Mountain, and the Black Mountain has been a thorn in many governments, including the PF government that just was moved out of power. So, can you explain to the people and the viewers here what are the issues? What's going on? Not too long ago, there was a riot in Kitwe. Can you explain what's going on?
Okay, so you will forgive me. My voice is a little bit not the usual because I came down with a terrible cold. I'm just recovering. I hope that it's still audible enough for the viewers to, get, what I will be saying clearly.
Mhm.
And so I wish to obviously let you know that the president is on the Copper Belt. I just traveled from Lusaka today. I couldn't have traveled yesterday. Like I said, I'm not in the best of my health. So
Mhm.
obviously the Copper Belt is delighted to host the president. I'm told that he's in Ndola today. obviously gracing a fundraising dinner for the UPND. He was in Kitwe yesterday, where he made some directive regarding CDF, and so I think that his presence is appreciated, because when the president visits, he brings good tidings, and yeah, and so just to answer your question as to what is happening in Kitwe. First of all, Kitwe is grappling with a lot of challenges. One of the biggest issues is the issue of water. The last almost 1 month, if not more, the people of Kitwe have been subjected to, I think, that the worst in history in terms of water supply. I think it's an issue that even came to Parliament. The Minister of Water was asked by Honorable Kangombe to explain what the situation or the challenge was and what the ministry through Nkana Water was doing. So it's not a good time to be in Kitwe, because water is life. And when you don't have, water, obviously you partly don't have life. The other thing that we are confronted with as Kitwe is I think dilapidation in terms of infrastructure. Our road network is, the worst, in record time, I can call it, for lack of better terms. If you follow Parliament TV, I'm always singing about a stretch of the road called Chiburuma Road, which is in a very bad state. So just partly to answer how Kitwe is doing, Kitwe is not in good shape today. But obviously, if we put our heads together, we hope to, get around these issues. Now, the issue of the Black Mountain has been a very thorny issue, as you rightfully put it. And I'm a very privileged guy, because the first time the Black Mountain was given out as an empowerment, program to the young people, I was sitting as a district commissioner for Kitwe. Okay, so you know how much I understand, the empowerment, from that perspective. And now that it's being given out again to the young people for the second time, I am now in a privileged position now as a member of Parliament. So just the Black Mountain sits in between two constituencies. It's partly in Usakile, it's partly in Nkana. I think the bigger chunk, for argument's sake, it may be in Usakile, though the actual areas where the empowerment activities are happening sits on the side of Nkana constituency, in the peripherals of an area called Nkana West, which is one of the elite areas of Kitwe, if you call it that way. And so me being a member of Parliament, how much I'm at pains to be able to explain what the challenges are, and also to just be able to explain vis-a-vis the expectation of the people of Nkana, because one would have thought that the number one beneficiaries for this empowerment program would have been the people that are directly affected by this resource. And we talk about the people of Nkana West. Okay, we talk about the people of Kandabwe, who are in the closest of proximity to this particular resource. Now, here is what I call the biggest mistake that we have made. Make no mistake, Masheke, for me, both the time that PF gave it out and now, I applaud government initiative to give this resource, as a way of empowering young people. In the first place, this is a resource that should never have been allowed to go into the hands of foreigners, because this is a waste out of our mineral processing, except you wish to understand that the Black Mountain has been because of the old methods of processing copper that had lacked in terms of technology, such that a lot of mineral content was left in the so-called West. Now, because of advancement in technology today, it is found that the newest methods of processing copper can actually go into the same material we call West. Okay, so in the old days it was a West. Now it's a valuable product because of the advancement in technology. All right. So in the first place, this is the West. that should never have been given to foreigners who come in the name of investors. Because when an investor come here, you expect them to throw resources into actual mining and not getting the off products of mining or the wastes of products. So if there was a way, would have even proposed that the whole entire Black Mountain resource should have been repossessed and be given to the locals, the young people, and so that they are empowered. But there are issues of bilateral relations with the people of China. And so it is not possible that government can compulsorily get this resource to be given to the locals. So where we are now is that with the 10% that ZCCM, or rather government held through ZCCM, this is what has led to that government making a decision to let go of that percentage held by ZCCM or by government through ZCCM to be given to the young people. That is the genesis of what we are now calling the Black Mountain empowerment. So for me, I do appreciate the efforts to empower the locals by way of letting go of what government holds in that waste resource called the Black Mountain. But the biggest issue, or rather the biggest challenge, is how this resource is managed. Remember, I mentioned that I was a head of government in the city when the first empowerment initiative was undertaken. And I saw the challenges that were given. The first issues that we were confronted with were issues of unfair distribution, because certain people were said to have benefited more than the masses. Now, that is the biggest issue that, characterized the first stage of the empowerment of the Black Mountain, then under the PF. Okay, it was just the issue of people complaining that one section of society has gotten more than the other section of society.
Let me make a follow-up. So what you're saying, what you're referring to was that after we had the so-called youths visit President Lungu at State House to lobby for the handover of Black Mountain to the youths? Because I remember vividly that visit, and I still have that picture of President Lungu standing at State House with Sparks Mining and other guys, so-called youths, Jelabos, you call them. They went to State House and they were hosted by President Lungu. And thereafter, there was an announcement that Black Mountain will be given to the youths through a cooperative. And so the question I'm asking, and in fact, you were the government representative at district level that time. So the question that I have with you, what went wrong? Because again, I've heard you about the issue of unequal distribution of that share, right? And that some people were left out. So as you answer this question, please also answer this question. Can you categorically say whether the Black Mountain was actually, shared among us PF supporters?
Okay, so maybe let me explain it in full context so that you have a deeper understanding. The Black Mountain, issues vis-a-vis the empowerment of the Black Mountain predates the Lungu administration.
It does.
The move to get the Black Mountain to be given to the young people started in I think in the MMD times. Because that I have a history with the PF. I was a provincial youth secretary for the PF Copper Belt then. When we took over power in 2011, as the youth leadership of the PF then started pursuing the agenda, which I want to believe had started before we even formed government. Now, even when we were pursuing this issue as young people, as the youth structures of the ruling party then, we didn't even have an idea on how to manage that resource. It was, you wish to know that the people that were closer to the resource were the so-called Jerabos. Okay? Yes. Now, Now, because we were talking about empowering young people, we had to incorporate the people that we thought understood how to manage this resource. That is how come the Jerabos came in. Okay, so for us, we were merely going to be conduits to get the resource, but then to be managed by the people that understood it very well, the value, because we didn't even understand the value ourselves as the ones who had, in quotations, the power to push for its actualization. So the Jerabos came into play, came into the picture, and now they were we were more or less working together. Now, the idea from our perspective was this resource was going to now
working together
empower
with
the young people. Come again?
What you were working together with the Jerabos. Okay.
Yes. So our working together for ourselves who were in the party structures, our pursuit was to ensure that the youths of our structures and other young people within the communities can also get a benefit. So the idea was, let's front these guys who understand, they get their share, we also get our share, so that in the process, we can get a benefit, as well as the other young people and perhaps the women in the communities can also get a benefit. That was how the Jerabos came into the picture, and it went into that meeting that followed at State House, where seemingly it looks like it was a Jerabos show. It's because they are the ones who understand how to manage that. Because even if you gave it to me as Binwell, then because we didn't have a lot of knowledge about mining, we wouldn't obviously have done anything with it. So we had fronted the people that understood it, and in the end, we were in the background to get a benefit. That is the understanding then. And I speak this because I was part of the youth leaders in the then time.
So did the women benefit from that? What benefit came out of that arrangement?
Okay, so now this is what used to happen, okay? So the operation model that was created is that there was a cooperative that was created, which was called Chapamo. Okay. Now, Chapamo had a lot of stakeholders. Part of the stakeholders were representatives of the party. Because remember, when the representative of the party, because the party, the PF, wanted to get a benefit for its members and the general public. Okay, then part of the Chapamo group had representatives of the various groupings of Jerabos. So it was called Chapamo. So various interest groups.
So Honorable Mpundu, so this was an arrangement, just the PF party and the Jerabos.
Yes. Yes. Remember,
so there was no participation of other youths from MMD, from UPND, from the general public. These people were actually excluded.
The truth is, it was being managed by the PF party. Yeah?
Okay.
Now, the idea was the other members of the community would get a benefit. Now, the members of the community was a general term. Okay, meaning that other interest groups, be it you could be from MMD, UPND, and other party, you could actually, get a benefit through the communities. But the truth is that at the center stage was the party.
How could, let's just say me, a UPND member, want a benefit from that? How could I have benefited? And let me remind the people that are watching. The reason why we are going back to understand what's happening is because if you don't understand the genesis of the issue, you can't solve it. We will be going around circles and circles and circles trying to solve the problem of the Black Mountain. Whether we like it or not, that's a danger. And I was coming to that safety issue, but let's go back here. I want to remind our viewers, we have Honorable Binwell Mpundu, member of parliament for Nkana constituency in Kitwe. And we are propounding on issues that affect the people, the issues that affect his constituency. And today I wanted to confront him, not only because he's a unique MP in the sense that he's independent, but prior to that, he was actually a PF government official at district level when these issues of the Black Mountain started. And so I'm questioning him because from here, we are going to go to solutions. Remember, on Punch for Punch, we also want to talk about the solutions of what's happening. So before we get there, we are propounding on the genesis of the problem. And so this is where I'm leading to Honorable Mpundu. There is the general public who are not affiliated to UPND, to PF, to MMD, and so on and so forth. And then at that time that this empowerment came, the way the PF had put it, they didn't really say it was the PF managing the Black Mountain. They just said a cooperative, right? But you have clarified this was a cooperative called Chapamo. So, but then the question I had here is, okay, so then how did the women that you mentioned earlier on and the general public in general come into this? Where do they come in?
So, like I rightfully put it, there was a cooperative called Chapamo, okay? And I want to be as honest as I can be. The guys who were at the helm of Chapamo were so magnanimous to incorporate various interest groups. That time we had marketeers also being considered, even though some would still go out crying that they never got a fair share. We had women from the communities who also be considered, because what they basically just used to do was allocate trucks in terms of numbers. This number of trucks is going to go to this grouping, that number of trucks is going to go to that grouping, and all that stuff. So the issues of politics, unfortunately, if you did not belong to the PF, you shouldn't have come under, say, a political party, because obviously politics was also to some extent at play, just like the case is today. The UPND, who are managing the resource just as was then, because you wish to know that as compared to then, it was called Chapamo. Now, in Chapamo, and this is where I would clarify the difference in terms of management. Then it used to be managed by a group called Chapamo. Now, in Chapamo, the majority of the stakeholders in that cooperatives were Jerabos. There was an interest of the PF leadership then. Are you getting that? The difference now is that it is being managed by a group called Consortium. 90% of the consortium, if not all of them, belong to the UPND. Okay, so if you are to get a benefit now, you cannot come under a political party. Say PF guys wants to get a benefit today, they cannot be accepted today, because after all, if including people like myself who are MPs, you would hear sentiments, people saying, no, we can't consider this MP because you understand, they were part of the empowerment then. So now and then, for you to get a benefit, you needed to delink yourself from the other political parties, because then it was managed in behind the scenes by PF. Now it is being managed full time by UPND. So if you were to look at the mistakes, those two could be said to the mistake in as far as the general public getting a benefit. But I can still draw some differences between the times. Now the UPND have realized that there is need to incorporate a lot of other stakeholders. They've opened it up to what they are calling cooperatives. So they've asked cooperatives, or rather people in the communities, to incorporate cooperatives, or rather register cooperatives, and then submit these cooperatives to the district commissioner's office. But as to whether a lot of those cooperatives will get a benefit is what we don't know, because the first disbursement of money was given out and each cooperative was only getting a 10,000 kwacha. Between you and me, if you get a 10,000 kwacha and you're a cooperative, what does that mean? Is that an empowerment? It is not. Okay,
well, if you're a cooperative that is coming from zero kwacha and you are just forming, because again, you got to realize the idea behind the cooperative. The idea behind the cooperative under the New Dawn government is first to organize the youths into some kind of constructive forums where they're not just coming empty-handed. They have ideas about businesses and entrepreneurship. And so it's not just accessing the empowerment, but it's also tapping into that CDF, right? It's tapping into various empowerment projects that are going. Some of them are under the Ministry of Information and Technology, and others are under the the Citizen Economic Empowerment Commission, which is still existing, right? And so there's all these vehicles that cooperatives, not only from the CDF, but they can actually access various resources from different areas.
So Masheke, let me tell you something. Here is the problem I have with the issue of cooperatives. And this is where we are missing it. A cooperative is a good idea because as compared to the past when cooperatives used to be associated with FISIP and agricultural activities, a cooperative today can undertake just about anything. They can go into supply, they can do construction work, they can just do about anything. Okay, now in as far as empowerment programs are concerned, the mistake we are making in cooperatives is to want to be seen to be covering a lot of groupings. Okay, and in the process, we are basically getting small resources we may have and spreading it over a lot with very insignificant results. My argument when I had a conversation with my brother, who is now district commissioner in Kitwe now, when he was given the resource to distribute, my argument was, look, I would rather we give 2 cooperatives or 3 cooperatives with results that are tangible so that they can be a learning point, as opposed to spreading to so many cooperatives with very little to show for. The same is happening under CDF. Okay, between you and me, how many groupings are we going to form up in constituencies to share the little that we have? There's a temptation under CDF, and this is an example I'm drawing. There's a temptation to want to give so many. I was arguing with my CDF committee that it doesn't make sense for us to spread it to 10,000, yet people would have made a proposition of projects that would have costed 50. Somebody makes a proposal, a cooperative makes a proposal to undertake a business that is costing 50,000, but you give them 10,000 in the name of let's us share this money. You are not achieving the purpose of forming those cooperatives. You want to empower those cooperatives, but to empower those cooperatives, give them what they need to embark on a project that they've proposed. Okay, you understand? So that is the same mistake that is being made, which I argued with my brother, the DC, that I saw Chapamo, or rather the consortium making, namely that they wanted to spread this resource to so many.
Right, you're in Kitwe. Who's heading the so-called consortium?
So the consortium is laid by, obviously, because of this is a national, this is an open platform. But I would tell you that it is being held by our colleagues who are part of the UPND leadership.
Right. Here is where I stand with that, and a lot of people understand my stance on many issues, and I want to make it very clear right now that I'm one of those that argued then when you had the Chapamo cooperative. And I've argued that was a wrong way of doing it. That was a wrong way of doing it. If and I will talk to my colleagues in the UPND about that. If the issue is that the UPND has formed another cooperative that they are running to run the Black Mountain as UPND, that's wrong. That's very wrong. Because, And I want to point it out very clearly.
Maybe before you go further, let me help you even understand a little bit of a difference. The PF were very clever, I can tell you in context. They were very clever that if their interest in Chapamo was so hidden that you would not even link them to the Chapamo thing. But our colleagues now, they are fully involved. They are the ones who are actually managing it. Then the Chapamo was driven by the Jeroboams. But we know between you and me that the party had an interest, but which was hidden behind.
Right.
So you can see that difference now.
So is the party in the front right now, the UPND?
Very much in the front.
And I'm gonna bring out your colleague, the UPND district, appointed district commissioner for Kitwe, because he has to come and answer, to respond to this. Because and I want to say this as a person that analyzes these public issues. I've said it again, and I said it when the president came to Washington, and I'm going to say it again when he comes back to Washington in September. I'm going to say in New York. I'm going to say it, that you cannot.
Now, make no mistake, Masheke. Make no mistake. Let me guide you, my brother. There's nothing wrong in political activists being involved, being in the forefront, running or managing an empowerment program. There's nothing wrong.
Comrade,
let me tell you now. Let me tell you. Maybe listen, Masheke, listen. There's nothing wrong. What is wrong is to be cagey and behave like you own the monopoly of wisdom to manage something. Okay, my argument with my colleagues is when we started this discussion, maybe you need to know the history or how far I've been as related or associated to this activity. I have had a meeting with the head of state, the current head of state, where I was actually even proposing to the head of state, look, sir, we have got some resource in my constituents which we can unlock and give to the young people who are making noise. Some of the disturbance you are seeing in Kitwe is as a result of young people in my constituents, okay, who feels they've been alienated from the empowerment program. And I did make a proposal before even the Black Mountain empowerment started. Okay, and this I was even making, as a proposal to the head of state, and I must be very, gracious to the head of state. He even made a directive. Go and sit down with the Minister of Mines. Go and unlock that, idea you have brought to me. It sounds good, for as long as you can guarantee me that you are going to address issues of safety. Okay, yes. And we start done.
Right. Let me tell you where I'm coming from. I am, as an economist, I have a problem mixing business and politics. And you see,
you can't separate the two.
No, let me tell you, my comrade. The problem with that is that we are innately biased towards our interests as human beings. And so what happens is, if you begin to mix business and politics, it is always going to be the political party or in power that is always going to take an upper hand. And it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be like that, because 10 years from now, UPND might not be in power. It might be, the economic empowerment, Mr. Chilufya Tayari's party in power. And then it will be his people now benefiting. That's not the way that we should run any public resource. A public resource, the one that is held, and I thank you for sharing that is held on behalf of the people of Zambia, must be shared equitably. Now, here is a proposal. Here is a counter proposal. What we could do at the Black Mountain is allow, like you said, specialized small-scale miners, to take lead. Give them the interest in that Black Mountain. When you give them that interest, give them very specific terms of references and metrics to measure progress. Safety number one should be you got to operate under the law. Number one. Number two, follow all safety standards under the Ministry of Mines. Number three, employ all Zambians, regardless of the party. And then once you do that, now some people won't like it, but what will happen is that, like you said, right now we have a black mountain that is being shared by so many people that it's not benefiting anyone at the end of the day. Everyone is just getting clams out of that. So what we can do is give 3 small-scale mining companies, empower them with equipment, mining technology, and ensure that they are capitalized enough to mine that mountain and create value out of it. Then employ thousands of those youths that want to benefit as miners and technicians. What do you think about that solution?
So Masheke, let me tell you something, and this is what I've been able to share with colleagues from the UPNG. The number one mistake that has been made, because you see, anyone who doesn't learn from experience is a fool, right?
Yeah.
You know, I for one have learned, you know, some of the mistakes that were made, you know, previously, and I came on the table with, you know, a lot of experience. Number one mistake, which I shared with a lot of stakeholders from the UPN, including the vice president, I said, look, the mistake that you are making is to think that a black mountain can empower the whole country. Okay? The black mountain cannot empower the whole country. The black mountain, because you wish to know, Masheke, that whatever we call the black mountain, which is a mining dump site, exists in all mining towns. It is in Kasempa, it is in Mufumbwe, it is in Solwezi, it is in Mufurila, there is one in Ichirabombwe. All the mining towns have got these mining dump sites. And these are good resources whose proceed can actually steer a lot of economic activities, particularly on the copper belt. Because you wish to know, between you and me, the copper belt is dead as it is. People are running out of the copper belt to go and seek for greener pastures. Now, these are resources, if unlocked, that can steer up the economy of the copper belt. All we needed to do, number one, is to agree that the Black Mountain in Kitwe must empower the people of Kitwe. The Black Mountain, which is in Luansha, which is of a very high grade, must empower the people of Luansha. There is one in Ndola. There is one which is very rich in Mufurira. Okay, so all we needed to do was not to even rush, but to look at all the legal issues surrounding all these dump sites and pursue them to the latter, and then unlock them all at once, so that the people of Chirirabombo don't have to come to Kitwe, the people of Mufurira don't have to come to Kitwe. They all can benefit from the dump sites in their respective towns. By now, Masheke, I can tell you, there would have been superb economic activities on the copper belt. But because our colleagues have wanted to benefit from just this same resource, you find that the people of Kitwe are getting peanuts. I gave a reference to the people that lives in the peripherals in Nkana West. The people of Nkana West are complaining the highest because, number one, their roads have gotten the worst in terms of dilapidation because of the moving trucks. Number two, they are subjected to the untold miseries in terms of dust emissions. And nobody cares for them for as long as people are moving their trucks from one end to the other. These people, to compensate them for their miseries, should have been considered number one in terms of empowerment. Because I shared this with one colleague of mine who I cannot mention here, who came to Quito for a fact-finding mission. I told him, look, you as UPNG, you are missing one point. The Black Mountain is supposed to handle two things. Number one, push your political agenda. If you ask me today, if it is doing that, it is actually letting you down the West. If you are the by-election, if you wait, don't cut me. Don't cut me. Look,
push the political agenda.
I'm a politician. I'm a politician. I'll tell you that when activities like these are done and are championed by a political party, okay, the expectation is that this is going to create or build our standing with the community, because when people benefit, they'll end up clapping for you. Okay, the opposite has happened in as far as the Black Mountain is concerned to UPND. The opposite has happened because everybody in Kitwe is complaining. And it is not just Kitwe. Everybody in Kalurushi is complaining because they have been subjected to, I don't know, you know the traffic by those trucks that are moving on that road. So everybody who's going home late and going for work late complains because of the Black Mountain affecting them negatively in that aspect.
You are the leader. You are the leader of in parliament of Kitwe, you know, part of Kitwe, especially in Nkana. The question I have for you is, have you laid down some solutions to these problems with your colleagues in the UPND? Especially,
I am telling you that, Masheke. I am telling you, Masheke, so that you know. Masheke, so that you know. I'm a very privileged guy, like you said in your preamble. Okay? Despite coming from PF, I am independent. And in my independence, President Hakainde has invited us as independents to work with him, and we have graciously agreed. In that way, we have been able to sit on the table with colleagues from the UPND. Now, sitting on the table and putting suggestions is one thing. As to whether your suggestions are going to be taken is another. And I want to insist, these are things that we have suggested to our colleagues. I have suggested these things to even the highest level, the second highest level in terms of leadership in the UPND, saying, ma'am, you cannot make that mistake. You cannot empower the whole country with that same resource. Unlock the other resources. That's when you are going to see meaningful economic activities and meaningful empowerment to the called in young people that you want to empower. But you see, like I said, suggestions we are giving up to this end, I can tell you that if our colleagues were listening, even the riots you referred to could not have been recorded. Okay? I can tell you that me, having served as a seat leader in Kitwe, I know all my young people in Kitwe, not just in Nkana. I know anyone who can bring confusion in Kitwe, and I can stop a confusion before it can even start. Okay? But you see, these are people we speak to. So our colleagues are fast to accuse us of inciting, but they are very reluctant to listen to the proposals that we have that can stop anything that before they can even start. So you understand?
So the question is, you are on the table of governance. You have been invited by the president, which he must be applauded for doing that. Come and work with us. Let's solve the problem of unemployment, the problems of empowerment, and so on and so forth. There's several ministries, I think, that come into play here. We have the issue of law and order. We have the Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, and we have the police and so on and so forth that are supposed to take care of that part. Then we have the issue of empowerment, which has different ministries that I've mentioned already. My proposal, again, stands. The issue, like you're saying, and I agree with you 100%, that Black Mountain will not solve all the unemployment problems with the youths in Kitwe. That's not possible. Okay? There's other underlying businesses that are attached to mining that could actually benefit a lot of youths. The question is, are we seeing Kitwe and at a larger extent the whole entire copper belt as that the unemployment issue can only be sorted out by the Black Mountain? What other things can be done in your constituency and in the copper belt that can help move the province forward and provide the much needed employment to the youths.
That's why I'm saying to you that I can challenge you. I can challenge my colleagues in the UPND that even today, with whatever of the Black Mountain is left, if we just made the deliberate decision today to say, okay, let us leave the Black Mountain that is left to the empowerment of the people of Kitwe. Okay, I can tell you Kitwe will change. There's so much money there at the Black Mountain, which we can use to empower a lot of vulnerable young people, a lot of women in Kitwe. You need to know that Kitwe is a mining town. Okay, the other opportunities may not be there vis-a-vis farming. Okay, because we don't have farming land. There's very little farming land. But of course, we can use that same resource to create other economic opportunities, okay, yes, that young people can venture on. But the challenge we have is that we are leaving too little a resource to empower the locals in Kitwe. Last time, what was given out in terms of empowerment to the cooperative was about 700,000 kwacha, and about 70 cooperatives were empowered. They walked away with the 10,000 kwacha. I can guarantee you, when you give 10,000 kwacha to cooperatives, you are achieving nothing. You are basically giving people to go and share at the end of the day. Okay, right. So I still want to challenge you that the best way we can actually start all over, because as we speak today, Masheke, the people of Kitwe are still complaining of having gotten nothing out of the Black Mountain. Criminality in Kitwe is at the worst because young people don't have anything to do. The Copper Belt is in dire distress today. There are no economic activities today.
They didn't have anything to do in the last 10 years. We got to remember that, Honorable Mpondo.
I can tell you that's no, Masheke, no, that's a misplaced statement. Don't forget that not long ago, Mopani was still happening. Mopani stopped happening 2 or 3 years from now. So when you refer to 10 years, 10 years back, there were a lot of economic activities because both KCM and Mopani were happening. Remember, the economy of the Copper Belt, wait, Masheke. The economy of the Copper Belt has predominantly survived on KCM and Mopani. Right. A few years backwards, Mopani has been happening and has been supporting a lot of suppliers and contractors who in the end have also been supporting other businesses. But Mopani's life is almost coming to a halt. Okay, for the first time, Mopani has had a shaft flooding. So you can see the extent of the damage on the Copper Belt. Mopani, which feeds the Copper Belt.
Most people, Mopani hasn't even been touched yet by the UPN.
Come again?
Mopani issues, they haven't even started dealing with that, because from what is in the media out here is that the UPND is trying to dismantle all these problems that we have had in the mining sector overall. And
but I'm not blaming the UPND for Mopani. What I'm trying to tell you is that the economy of the Copper Belt is now on its knee, largely because the two giants that have supported the economy of the Copper Belt are on their knees. Okay, now these are problems that are not far from here. Like Mopani's problem is not far from here. Mopani 2 years ago, 3 years ago was happening and used to support the economy of the Copper Belt. So the problems we are noticing now are as a result of the non-activity or the inactivity or the problems that have confronted our two mining giants, which have been the backbone of the life of the people of the Copper Belt. That is why we are saying now we need to hold on to the little we have. And one of the little we have is the Black Mountain. The Black Mountain, unfortunately, which is being spread across the country, should have been limited or confined to supporting the life of the people of Kitwe. We should have gone to the other resources in the other mining towns to also support the lives of those people in those towns, I mean. So This can only come when you realize that we have very little to fall back on now that Mopani and KCM are confronted with these, untold problems. You understand? That is why I still put it on the table. Our colleagues need to realize that these two we have, which is the Black Mountain, can actually be used to transform the lives of the people of Kitwe. And not Chingola, not Luansha, not any other town. But those mining dump sites in the other towns can actually also be unlocked, and they can provide a means of livelihood for the people in those respective towns.
Here we are. This is Punch for Punch. If you are just joining us, we are having a conversation with my good friend and my brother, Honorable Binwe Mpundu, MP, Nkana constituency in Kitwe. We have confronted him on the issue of mines. We have confronted him on the issue of Black Mountain, and we are almost coming to an end of this program. This program is short, Honorable. I'll tell you what, every time we start engaging, people want to continue and continue and continue. But here is the thing. I want to say this, and I want to say it very clearly. Today, we have at least a president who's able to see that there is a problem on the Copper Belt. Number one. Number two, I want to state, and state very categorical here, that the president has committed himself to resolving the issues in the mining sector. Number three is that the president has indicated these are not going to be easy conversations. And these conversations have to actually keep going on between you, the people in the legislature.
Let me disappoint you before I lose my thought,
let me finish my point.
Let me disappoint you before I lose my thought.
No. Let me finish.
Wait.
That way you can respond together. The fourth point I want to make sure you understand is lobbying and advocacy, which you are doing as a member of Nkana, must continue until results are found. You can't give up and say, no, they are not listening to me. Then I'm not going to talk to, that's why you are here now, because we are bringing these issues out to them. Trust me, they watch this program, they watch this TV station. And so what I'm saying is that the issue, again, let's go back to what we said. The issue of the Black Mountain cannot be the only solution for unemployment, for poverty in Kitwe, for the young people. And the way we are doing it, through the so-called the consortium, through the so-called Chapamo cooperatives, that is a wrong model altogether. From the professional perspective, I know you are a politician, from the professional perspective and the development economics, it is the wrong model to use politics and business in one. That's why we have perpetual problems with the Black Mountain. That is the premise of my standpoint. This is where I stand. If the UPND are making the same mistake, we have to call them out. If they're going to do it the same way PF did it, we are going to have to change the way we are doing things. And I'll make sure that the message reaches the president when he comes here to the United States in September at the UN General Assembly. Your point.
So let me tell you, Masheke, and I tell you, I say this always. Sometimes people would ask me today, why were you not talking? Because now I have got, the freedom to talk. I can speak my mind because now I don't report to anybody. Back in the days, we would speak, but would speak, in very low voices because obviously we were held by collective responsibilities, and I said this to my colleagues who are in the UPND today, and I'll say this publicly to you, Masheke. I've sat down with President, Hakainde. He's a good man. He's a visionary man who has an idea of where we have to go. I can tell you that the biggest problem he has is his team. Okay? And like you rightfully put it, we will not stop, putting our thoughts, to the guys in leadership. Where else can we go? Okay. I'll repeat, the biggest problem, the biggest enemy that President Hakainde will face is his team. His people are engulfed in politicking. They are indoctrinated. They have gone flat out politicking and forgotten that what they're supposed to be doing to transform the lives of people. I'll give you just an example. You are not far from understanding the point that I'm trying to, put across. Just go and listen to parliamentary proceedings and see the responses that ministers will give you. You bring an issue that does not just affect the people from another political party. It also affects the people in the UPND. The responses you get from a minister, you would even wonder, am I dreaming or am I alive? Okay, why? Because our friends have gone to politicking. They look at you as belonging to another political party, and they'll give you a response, more or less what we say, chikubabe. Just because you used to treat us badly then, we should also treat you this badly. So that is detrimental to the progress that President Hakainde wants to make. Just the same issue of the mining sector. I can tell you, I have had a conversation with His Excellency. I have made proposals before, sir. This thing can make you sleep peacefully if we unlock this resource that is in my constituents. And he gives a direction or a directive, go and implement it. You go to other colleagues who have been directed, they are in different directions. What are you supposed to do? That is why I am saying.
Did you go back to the president and says your appointed guy has refused your instructions?
Don't forget, Masheke, that the president is not a small office that you can walk in and out just like that.
No, he's on the
just to see the president is not a small, it's not a small undertaking. Okay, no, so you take advantage of every opportunity you have. But when you get stuck there, are you telling me that you will have that easy as you are thinking it? It's not that easy. Okay, no, that is why I'm saying that our friends who have been mandated to manage the other facets of government on behalf of by the president must realize that they are letting him down. I make this very public so that they also hear, and I hope that one day the president will realize that his biggest enemy are his people whom he has entrusted. They've gone flat out to politics. It's not correct.
We are coming back. We are going to come back, Honorable Mpundu, for part 2, because I'm running out of time and we have to bring you back. And the reason why I want to bring you back, Honorable Mpundu, is because I want to also give an opportunity to my colleagues in the UPND. I want to bring I'm trying to get the Minister of Mines and also the District Commissioner for Kitwe, because those are people who the president, when he directed and said, go and talk to my people, those are the people you should be talking to.
And trust me, the gist is as vulnerable as I am in the equation. Don't even put him there.
But your colleague, the Minister of Mines, you serve together in Parliament. And so you should be able, you'll meet almost on a daily basis when Parliament is in session. And so my thing is this: I need to bring him here. I need him to come on punch for punch so that he can explain. And I want to bring you back, and also Usakile constituency, MP, because Black Mountain and is between those two constituencies. But here is what I want to say. This program is for you. This program is for the people of Zambia. And I want to thank you so much, Honorable Binwe Mpundu. You and I talk all the time, away from the cameras, and you are one of the people that I actually endorsed in PF for Kitwe. I kind of broke rank with. I was supporting and endorsing the UPND, but in Kitwe I supported you. But and the reason was very simple. It's because of what has come out today. You're sober-minded. You are able to articulate issues, and this is what we need from young people. And there's nothing wrong with that. We can come here to agree to disagree, and that's what democracy is about. And so, your last comment, Honorable Mpundu.
So my last comment would be, look, to every problem, there's always a solution for as long as people focus on finding solutions. And for me, I believe in a word, never say die, or it's never too late. The problems we are confronted with today can only be resolved when we realize that we have a problem that needs to be resolved. Now, we are all stakeholders to see Zambia prospering. It doesn't matter. Even those who were part of government, they can offer a solution. All I'm calling on my colleagues in the UPND is that, look, this responsibility of managing the affairs of the country is too huge to be handled alone. There's nothing wrong in reaching out to brothers who are on the other side of town to say, look, let's sit down. How did you do this? How can we do it better? The Black Mountain had a template. We could have just built on the already existing template, just modified it where there were errors or where there were wrongs being committed. We improve it. It could have been the best. And I want to still insist that it's not too late. That resource called the Black Mountain in Kitwe can be confined to the people of Kitwe, but we should unlock the other dump sites in the other mining towns to benefit the people in those respective towns. Copperbelt is dying unless we open our minds and our thinking towards what can revamp the economic way of life for the people of Kitwe. You will remember me for these words.
Let me ask you a last question. Have you been invited to the PF convention?
Come again?
Have you been invited to the PF convention? And if you are you going?
The PF has never invited me to any meeting since I was elected. The UPND has invited me. I've been to Community House 3 times. I've been to State House 1 time. I have never been invited to any meeting of the PF. I've never been. Actually, the PF consider me to be UPND. The UPND also consider me to be a PF surrogate. So I'm independent.
Comrade, you need to answer my question. Are you going to the convention if you're invited? Are you vying for a position in the PF?
No. Look, Masheke, at the moment, I believe that the political party system is killing this country. I would rather we remain independent.
Good. Well, that's it.
So I cannot go to the convention, no.
You will not go to the convention.
No. I'm independent.
You know your elder brother, Chimbakwambwili is going to drag you from.
No. I'm past that. Narikula nomba wa masheke.
We'll see about that. But anyway, thank you so much, Honorable Binwa Mpundu. It's been a pleasure having this conversation with you again. Punch for punch. A lot of people are asking. I saw some of your members asking, what is this punch for punch? Yes, punch for punch in terms of ideas, in terms of political, mature conversations. And this is where you need to be. This is the program of the people, by the people, and for the people. So thank you so much, comrade.
Thank you, my brother. You take care.
Great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night. Thanks a lot.